Welcome to another video. So today I want to talk to you about something that's been on my mind a lot lately, especially because there are so many more of you who are caring for your aging parents who have dementia or Alzheimer's disease. And here's the thing, communicating with someone who suffers from dementia, it can really feel like you're speaking a totally different language. So this video is going to be a crash course on Speaking Dementia 101. Hi there, I'm Sophia. I make weekly videos to help you support your aging parents with the best information, resources, and mindset strategies so you can have a peaceful, purposeful parent care experience and not have any regrets. Okay, so let me give you a visual. Imagine that you just landed in a new foreign country and you don't speak the language. The signs, they make no sense, and the people are speaking to you, but everything just sounds like gibberish. And when you try to explain something simple, like asking for directions, no one understands you. It's frustrating, right? Now, think about this from the perspective of someone who has dementia or Alzheimer's disease. That is their world every single day. And just like you wouldn't expect people in that other country to start speaking English just because you're there, we can't expect our parent with dementia to communicate with us the way that they used to, because that's our way. It's our job to adapt. We have to learn their language, even if it's unfamiliar and a little uncomfortable at first. So let's dig a little deeper into this idea of a language barrier. If you have ever been in a place where you don't know the language, you know how isolating that could feel. You're trying to express something, but it's like a wall. And for someone with dementia, their thoughts and their words, they don't always line up the way that they used to. They might say things that don't make any sense to us, or they might not be able to find the right words at all. Their brain just doesn't process the information the same way anymore. It's like they're living in their own country, in their own mind, where their own thoughts and memories don't always make sense, even to them sometimes. But here's the kicker. When we try to communicate with them in the same old way that we always have, it's like we are stubbornly speaking English in that foreign language, expecting them to understand us and get it. But that is just not going to work. It's not fair to them, and it's honestly not fair to us either, because it leads us to feel frustration, actually on both sides. So how do we learn their language? I don't mean literally, of course, but there are some real practical tactics that you can take to be able to better communicate with a parent who is struggling with dementia or Alzheimer's disease. First off, we need to understand that their world is different from ours. They might not remember what they had for breakfast, but they might vividly remember events from 30 years ago. And that's where we need to meet them, where they are now, in their reality. One of the best things that we can do is to simplify our communication. Short, clear sentences. Slow down your speech a little bit. But don't treat them like a child, because they are still an adult with a lifetime of experience. It is just that their brain processes things differently now. It is like if you were trying to learn a new language. Slow and clear would be helpful for you, right? It's the same idea here. So if you were in another country and you didn't speak that language, but you needed to find the bathroom, you would not say to a local person, "I drank 5 glasses of water and my bladder is so full and I really have to go to the bathroom. Can you please tell me where the restroom is?" You know, they're not going to understand a word you said because it was too fast and way too complicated. So what would you say instead? You would simply say, "Bathroom? Bathroom?" And this is the same language that you should learn to speak with your parent who's having a hard time understanding you sometimes. Short and simple and sweet. Another key point is to tune into nonverbal cues. Sometimes your parent will be communicating more through their body language than through their words. They might be confused or scared sometimes, and instead of saying those words, they're going to show it in their facial expressions and in their body language. You have got to learn to read between the lines. Think of it like picking up on the body language of someone in another country. You can learn a lot by just watching their gestures and their expressions. And the same when you're speaking to them, it's helpful to use body language and gestures when you communicate to your parent. For instance, you could say something like, "It's time to go, it's time to go," and point to your watch. Or, "It's lunchtime." And this is a big one, so I'm going to spend a little more time on it. Imagine again that you're in that foreign country and someone is speaking to you in a language that you don't understand. Now, what if they kept correcting you every time that you understood them or you got something wrong? And they kept correcting you. Would you feel frustrated? Probably. You might even feel embarrassed or even start to get angry. And that is exactly what happens when we are constantly correcting someone with dementia. They're trying to communicate in the best way that they can, and when we tell them they're wrong or we're trying to pull them back to our reality, whether it's about what year it is or who they think you are, it makes them feel bad. It makes them feel more lost. I had this moment with my dad who had dementia, and he would sometimes think I was my sister. And my very first instinct, of course, was to correct him and say, "Dad, that was Patty. I'm Sophia." But I didn't say that. But his caregiver who was there did and said, "Victor, this is Sophia. That's not Patty." And I could see on his face the confusion and then the embarrassment. And later, I educated the caregiver to just roll with it. And my dad and I, we talked about all the things that my sister and her husband had done years earlier, as if it was me and my husband. And honestly, it was one of the nicer, more relaxed, pleasant conversations that my dad and I had. It was no harm done. But by living in their world, by stepping into their reality instead of dragging them back to ours, it can make them feel safer and more understood. And it's not always about the facts anymore. It's about the emotions. How are they feeling in that moment? That is what matters the most. Okay, so let's get into some real-world strategies that you can start using right away when talking to your parent. And this is not about being perfect. It's about trying different things and seeing what works and seeing how your parent feels about it. First, be patient. I know it's easier said than done, but with dementia, you're likely going to need to repeat yourself. Maybe sometimes a lot, and that's okay. Think about it when you're learning a new language and someone needs to slowly repeat something to you over and over until it sinks in. Your parent might need the same thing too. Next, avoid confrontation. If they insist that it's 1975 or that their spouse is still alive, just let it go. I know it might sound hard, but arguing or trying to correct them all the time only escalates the situation. It's better to be in their reality, even if it's not the same as yours. Another strategy is to focus on familiar topics, things that you know that they're going to remember, things from their past that made them happy. Maybe they love talking about how they met their spouse or used to go dancing or what they used to do as a teenager. These topics are going to bring them comfort. They are a sense of connection and it's familiar to them. It's like if you were traveling to a foreign place and you've been there for weeks, let's say, and then somebody comes up and starts talking to you about the US and something familiar about where you live. It feels good and you want to talk about it because it's familiar and you remember it well and it brings you peace. That's what you want to bring to your parent. And here is a pro tip. Keep things light and positive whenever possible. Humor can be your very best friends. Sometimes the absurdity of what our parents say or do or believe can be frustrating. But if you can just laugh with it and go with it and let it roll off your back, it can break the tension and make everything a little bit easier. And I just really want to emphasize this, that it's okay to make mistakes. Communicating with someone who has dementia, it is a learning process. It doesn't come naturally to most of us. And that's okay. Just like when you're learning a new language, there are going to be moments where you get it wrong. You're going to say the wrong thing. And there might be misunderstandings, but over time, you're going to find your rhythm. And remember that it's just not all about the words. Touch, eye contact, your tone of voice, your expressions, your posture, gestures, they all become part of this new language that you're learning. Sometimes gentle touch on the hand or a soothing tone can speak volumes, even when words don't land the way that they used to. It's like learning how to communicate on a deeper, more intuitive level. So if there's one thing that I want you to take away from this, it's that communicating with a parent who has dementia or Alzheimer's is like learning a new language. At first, it's strange, it's uncomfortable, but with patience and time and practice, it's going to become more natural. You're going to become a dementia speaker. You're not trying to force them to understand you. You are learning to connect with them in a way that makes sense in their reality, in their world. So the next time you're with your parent, try stepping into their reality. Use some of these strategies. Keep it simple. Watch your body language and theirs. And let it go if you need to. Resist the temptation to correct them. And you might be surprised how much more meaningful your interactions will be. If this video is helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe and share this with someone who could use this information. We're all learning this new language together, and it's okay if it takes some time. And for even more information on supporting an aging parent with dementia, then check out these videos here on the screen. I thank you so much for watching today. I'll see you next time.